In this video, I'm going to explain how to change your life in 150 days in a way that people may not even recognize you. So, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Few years ago, more likely 2020 and 2021, I was a lazy person. I did not have control over myself. I was not a good Muslim. I was doing bad things. I was lazy. I did not have a business. I dropped out of college. My parents were worried about me. I did not have good mental health. I felt like I did not have control over myself. I acted very impulsively into bad behaviors. I was a really quiet person, and my relatives thought that I was just like a quiet person. And now in 2025, when my relatives see my YouTube channel, they are amazed that it is the same guy who used to be quiet, and he has a YouTube channel and he speaks so confidently. I am most of the time consistent and disciplined on my YouTube channel, even though when results are not showing the way that I want to, but still I'm consistent and disciplined. I pray my prayers in the masjid. I do not backbite. I do not watch porn. I have deleted all the short form apps like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, and Twitter, and X, and things like that. If I do consume content, I only watch YouTube long form, and that's it. My beliefs, my mindset, the way I talk, and the way my posture is, and my confidence in general has increased so much. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that for yourself. So, I'm gonna talk about 4 things in this video that will help you change your life significantly. And this is not some generic tip, so just be disciplined, just push through, just man up, and just do these things. It's not something like that. Although those things help to some extent, but they are not long term solutions for the problems that you are facing. Number 1 thing is called identity shifting. Now, before you click off and think like, oh, this is not gonna help, whatever, what's this guy talking about? Let me explain. Identity shifting does sound like some alpha male cringe type thing, but here's the thing, dude. I read it in Atomic Habits. Identity shifting is really, really powerful. It is like a cheat code to achieve what you want. Let me give you an example. Let's say there are 2 types of people. Both are trying to be disciplined. One person identifies himself as someone who is a lazy person. He just says that I'm just lazy. I am not disciplined. Person B is also trying to be disciplined, but he sees himself as a disciplined person. He says I'm a disciplined person. I'm someone who is disciplined. Then tell me which person will be disciplined more easily. It's obviously person B, who sees himself as a disciplined person. Do you know why? Because studies have shown that your behavior acts in alignment with the identity that you identify with. So, identity shifting is really powerful. Ask yourself, who is the type of person that you are trying to be? When you've asked yourself that question, then ask yourself, what would that ideal person do in your current situation? Whether it's in business, in spiritual goals, in life, in whatever goal you have, ask yourself, what would that person do? That person is doing the right thing, probably. And that's why he succeeded. That's why he is at where he is at, right? So, identity shifting is really powerful, and studies have proven that it's very crucial if you want to change your life. And with identity shifting, the next thing is super important, and dude, I rarely see someone talk about it, and these things are not taught in school. This is one of the big things that affects our behavior in life, and it is so sad that I rarely see anyone talk about it. Most people don't even know about this, but it dictates their life every day, and it is called subconscious work. Let me explain. So your behavior is run by your subconscious mind. So here's the thing. In your conscious mind, you set goals, you have vision, you make promises to yourself, you decide to have willpower. But underneath the surface is your subconscious mind. That's where your fears, your emotions, your justifications, and the reasons for your lack of discipline and procrastinations live. And people don't realize that, say, for the first 20 years of your life, for example, for the first 20 years of your life, you are not really conscious. At least I was not conscious for the first 20 years of my life. Probably many people are not going to understand what I'm going to talk about, but this is super important. So, the first 20 years of our life are like the things that happen in that life, it feels like that they are not your choice. You get attached to bad things like maybe corn, or the way you speak, or the way you behave in life. It just happens. It feels like that it was not your choice. You did not know what you were doing because you were not really conscious. But what happens with many people is they let the first 20 years of your life dictate their whole life. For example, the behavioral patterns that they built up when they were like 80 years old, when some childhood trauma happened or something bad happened, and they developed some behavioral patterns, and they let those behavioral patterns run for the rest of their life until they're like 80 or 90 years old. That's what happens with pretty much many people. The thing is, a child does not know how to live life properly, and the behavioral patterns, the traumas that you've been through, the things that happen to you, and the way you behave, for most people it is run by their childhood and first 20 years of their life. And they let those 20 years dictate the rest of their life. And they don't even realize it. They think they're a new person, but deep down, your life is run by your childhood trauma or subconscious behavioral patterns that you developed as in the first 20 years of your life. So, what does shadow work do in that situation? Let me explain. Shadow work is bringing light to subconscious emotions that are holding you back from being the person that you are trying to be. It is diving deeper into your subconscious mind, finding out the reasons that why do you behave and conduct things the way you do. What is, and it shadow work is abstract to explain, but the ones who understand it can literally change their life completely. Because once you tackle and process the root cause subconscious reasons behind your lack of discipline, procrastination, if you really process your subconscious mind, then you can become a new person completely. It is like if you process your childhood trauma and you tackle and process the root cause subconscious reasons for your life, for your behavior, you can be a completely new person. Your beliefs change, your posture changes, your mindset changes, your behavioral pattern changes, the way you see things change, and you can mold it into whatever that you are trying to be. And subconscious work is hard to do. Many people think that they can just do subconscious work just like that, but many people don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to properly do it. And subconscious work is really important if you want to be disciplined and consistent in your life long term, whether in whatever goal that you have. By the way, if you want me to help you one on one, you can join my 8-week program by clicking the link in the description. So, the next thing is called How to Beat Procrastination Effectively. Every day you wake up with a dopamine battery, and you can use that dopamine battery to either do bad things like scrolling, video games, and things like that, or either you can use that dopamine battery to work on your goals, your business, your spiritual goals, your life. Let's say you wake up and you start playing video game, you start to scroll. Your dopamine battery gets depleted. And when the time of work comes, then you wonder, why do I not feel like working? Work is so boring. I do not want to work. Do you know why that is? That is because your dopamine battery is depleted. You used your dopamine. Now you don't have the dopamine battery to work. That's why it's so hard for you to work. For me, doing YouTube and working on my business is fun to me. Do you know why that is? Because I have deleted Instagram, TikTok. I do not have Snapchat or X. I do not have video games. I deleted video games, even though I want to play video games. I played them so much as a child, but I had to delete video games to work on my goals so I can have a high dopamine battery to work on my goals. So because I don't have those things, when I wake up and I do breakfast, I'm like, and when I wake up and I do breakfast, working on YouTube and my business is one of the only options that I have to not get bored and to have fun. So I naturally just lean towards working. Imagine if I had a video game installed on my phone. My brain would be like, just dude, play the video game. You don't have to work. And I have fallen into that trap before. I downloaded a video game like few months ago and I procrastinated on my work. I played that video game in the day, in the night, and I procrastinated on my work. So I deleted that video game. The video game had to go. And now the YouTube is fun to me. The business is fun to me. So you have to sacrifice distractions from your life, because if you want to achieve something great, if you want to change your life, then you have to sacrifice the bad habits that you have in your mind. You have to pay the price. It's not free. The life that you want is not free. You have to pay the price and cut the bad habits that you have so you can have a full dopamine battery to work on your goals. And next thing, also very important to achieve good things in life, whether spiritually, financially, physically, mentally, any goal. That is consistency. Now, many people, what happens is they get hyped up by watching a motivational video. They work one day, then they take like four or 5 days off. Then, if you're acting like that, then you're probably not gonna get anywhere. I have been consistent on YouTube most of the time, even when results are not showing. I don't get distracted by some other new business that's popping off. I do not get distracted by some shiny object syndrome. Even when results are not showing the way that I want to, I am still consistent on YouTube. I'm still disciplined. Yeah, there'll be like 1 or 2 days when I'm sick or I'm not really feeling well. I'll take a day off, but most of the time I am consistent, and that is what's important. So if you want to be consistent, you do not have to be 100% perfect in consistency. I am not perfect. Nobody is perfect. But if you can be consistent most of the time, and when you slip, you quickly get back on the track without letting that one mistake spiral into long inconsistency. And if you can completely get back on track very quickly, and then you'll probably get where you want to be. You don't have to be perfect in consistency, but you have to be consistent regularly and most of the time. Few mistakes here and there can happen, but you should get back on track quickly. By the way, if you want my one-on-one help and dive way deeper so you can be consistent and disciplined regularly in 8 weeks, then you can join my 8-week program by clicking the link in the description. I will personally hold your hand for 8 weeks so you can be consistent and disciplined regularly. And I am confident that by the 8th week, you'll probably won't need me because you'll be consistently and regularly working on your goals. But this program will actually change your life. So if you want that, link in the description, and peace.